Bob, every week you and I talk about your findings in different battleground states, the states that really matter in this election. Every state obviously matters, but the battleground states more so. This one, does this look like those other seven states we've talked about, we've honed in on, particularly its neighbor, Arizona?
Yeah, so I would say that Nevada is maybe a hair more towards the Democrat than Arizona is, but they're close. The issue profile is the same. Um, so it definitely looks like, slight advantage to Trump in both of those states, as Arizona a little bit more. Um, and it's it's a smaller state, and so it has to be. If you're thinking about electoral map, it has to pair with other states to add up. Let's say if the blue wall doesn't hold for Harris, and she loses one of those or more of those states, it would be very difficult for them to just make up by winning Nevada. It would have to be in conjunction with Arizona or with North Carolina or with Georgia, and so it's not a must-win for the Harris campaign, but it's an option. And as we get closer to election day, and all of these battleground states are still within a point or two of each other, the electoral math and the paths to victory become really complicated.
And there's six electoral votes up for grabs in Nevada, so obviously it's not as crucial as those 19 in Pennsylvania, the 11 in the other battleground states, some of them. So you're saying this isn't a must win for Harris, but who does this help their pathway to victory more, Trump or Harris?
Well, I think it helps. It helps Trump uh, because I mean she can win without Nevada. He can't win. I think if Nevada goes, it's I think probably a symbol of other problems, perhaps in Arizona as well. So I do think it is sort of a must win for him. But both campaigns can win without winning Nevada. So it's not really must win for either campaign. Not like Pennsylvania, for example, where really it is must win for both campaigns.
Bob, this is your last battleground poll between now and November 5th. So, when you're thinking about all the data you have collected so far, what are you looking at specifically between now and Election Day? Because voting, as we know, has already started in most states.
It has. There's been a lot of votes cast, and I think we're seeing, as we hear about reports of early voting, a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, we're no longer in a pandemic, and so that sort of has changed in who was voting early in 4 years ago to now. Um, the other thing is we had a presidential campaign 4 years ago discouraging people from voting early. And that same campaign is now encouraging people to vote early. So when we see spikes in more Republicans are voting early, well, they're being asked to by the candidate. So it's that is one of the things people will be looking at. What I'm going to be looking at as these last polls come in is the motivation factor to vote, and is there still going to be a gap between older and younger voters? If there is, I really do think that that's sort of one of those things that push a close election into Trump's favor because older voters are leaning more Trump than younger voters are. So everyone says it comes down to turnout. It really does, especially in close races like this. But when you're in a close race, really everything matters because it doesn't take too many votes to tip a race.